Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing, and this is the first video on roll casting in my 5-video series on single-hand spey casting. And in this video we just look at the roll cast, but we're going to be looking at it from the perspective of moving on to spey cast and how the fundamentals of the roll cast fit into spey casting. So even though you might know how to roll cast, it's probably worth watching anyway. And then from this video you can progress on to the single spey. So let's check it out.
Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. And I thought today would be a good idea to look at the roll cast. It's a simple cast, but be surprised how many people have difficulty with it. And there's a few fundamentals to get right, and then the roll cast works. And I'll do this on my opposite side of my body so you'll see it more easily. The leader, and maybe the tip of the fly line and the fly in the water, that's called the anchor. And we need what we call a D-loop, which is a belly of line hanging off behind the rod tip. And if you've got that D-loop working, that line, this line right here, provides the weight to load the rod for you to make the cast. So what that actually looks like in real life, I'll try not to hit that tree, and you can take your time as much as you want. There's no rush involved here. Once you've got that belly behind you, we can sit here. The fly's in the water ahead of me, and I just simply make a forward cast, and away it goes. The key is to have the fly in the water and the leader in the water in front of you, and make your forward cast. Now, there are a couple of things to be careful about with the roll cast, and this is true of any spey cast or roll cast. And that when we bring our anchor up into this position, there's actually, if you think of 3 planes or 3 lines, there's my body, the cast, and the anchor. And the anchor always has to be to the outside. If you don't do that, what happens when you cast, if you cast across the anchor, the line will cross and tangle. That's the good outcome. The bad outcome is the fly comes up and hits you in the face. So as long as you keep your anchor to the outside, you can make that roll cast, and it works fine. So let's review that. You bring it up nice and slowly, take your time, leave the fly in front of you and on the outside, and then just make a forward cast. And nothing's easier than that. Now, why would you use a roll cast? Well, one of the most common reasons why I use a roll cast is, let's say I've just taken some weed off my line, right? And I want to get my line fishing. I just put it out there and pop, my line's back out fishing. I've just taken the weeds off and it's out quickly. It's an easy way to get back fishing. Another thing, if you were stripping streamers, for example, and you've stripped your line in, you can make a roll cast to work some line out, and then you can begin your forward casts to get going again. So I use roll casts, for example, in Cape Cod. I've stripped all my line in, and I want to make a cast. So instead of making a bunch of false casts with a heavy line and a weighted clouser, I just do a roll cast, get the head out of the guides, one back cast, and it's gone. So roll casts can be used in a variety of places, but as long as you follow those simple guidelines of always making sure the anchor is on the outside of the cast, it's the furthest part away from you, that you do it nice and slow, you keep the fly in the water, and you create that belly of line behind the rod tip, and then you just make your forward cast. And that's it. So, don't be afraid to roll cast. Just remember to take your time. Don't rush it. Don't bring your fly line way back there. Don't thrash it. There's no need for any of that. Just take your time, keep your fly on the outside, and make a forward cast. Bingo. So that's the roll cast. And we're going to move on to spey cast after this, and the roll cast is actually the centerpiece of spey casting. The thing about roll cast is they're a static cast, meaning I can bring it up and hold it in this position all day. Spey casts are dynamic, and we're going to see that next.
Okay, there you go. This is the roll cast. Not a whole lot to it. The thing we have to keep in mind, it requires an anchor. It requires a D-loop behind the rod tip. And once you've got those 2 elements, you're in a position to make a roll cast. The things we have to watch out for is make sure we don't cast across our anchor, which results in tangled lines. And there's ways around that if you want to. You can actually move your anchor to keep it away from being crossed. So as long as you follow the rules of you, the cast, the anchor, with the anchor always on the outside, this cast works. So let's move on to the next one, the single spey.